accepting and embracing the fact that we are in control of our decisions. And more importantly, our decisions create outcomes and consequences, positive or negative. Welcome back to the Nest. Accountability, the first episode of our ability series, as we bring 3 more exciting podcasts to you. And we're going to talk about something that, Joe, you and I both is at the foundation of what we believe in, and that's accountability. And I thought it was important that we open up with a definition. You know, that's kind of my personal definition: accepting, but more importantly, embracing the fact that we are in control of our decisions. And to me, the cornerstone of understanding accountability is embracing the control that we have, because we don't have a lot of it.
And I think it's a 2-part thing. You know, it starts with holding yourself accountable, and it's not just in a negative way, it's in a positive way as well. And as you learn to hold yourself accountable and hold yourself to a standard, you then feel comfortable enough to hold those around you accountable as well. And I think that's troublesome for people, because they immediately want to go to, I want to hold others accountable, without looking in the mirror and saying, am I holding myself to that standard? Am I doing everything I can to make sure I own my decisions and that those decisions were well thought out?
I don't believe that you can really understand accountability unless you understand consequences. And consequence is one of the most difficult things for human beings to understand, especially today, and especially in the area that we work in education, because we always feel like there's a second chance. We always think that we're going to have another shot, another opportunity. And consequences are tricky because of the finality of consequences. You failed your AP Calc course for the first semester, and you can't participate in your senior year of your spring sport. Finality. And there's nothing you can do about it. And then you really find out about people at that moment when the reality sets in, that the decisions I made about not studying or not getting enough extra help or not taking it seriously or thinking that I was going to get away with failing a course, or when I wanted to sleep instead of study, or I didn't want to go to extra help and I wanted to go to practice instead. And then that finality sets in, and for a lot of people, their first response is point the finger. Well, my teacher needs to give me another shot. I need to make up that work. Well, if I get my parents involved, they'll fix this for me. But no, that's the exact opposite of accountability. Right? Accountability is saying, okay, I understand that I made decisions, or I didn't make enough decisions, enough of the right decisions to do what was necessary, and now I have to face the consequences. And that's on the negative end, and there are a lot of positives that come too. But the positives, positive consequences often lead to excitement as a whole. We don't realize that we're accountable for those too. If I'm a wrestler and I just worked my butt off, and I go out and wrestle my butt off through the state tournament and place 8th in the state, like, you should take accountability for that. You should feel really good about that.
And I think that side of accountability lacks, and I think because it can come off as cocky or things like that, but being held accountable, you're being asked why you did or did not do something. But if you did something and you felt confident in that decision, you need to give yourself credit for that accountability. The more I dove into this subject, I noticed that majority of it was on the negative end. We're holding you accountable for that decision. Well, yeah, that decision was a great decision. I don't know how many people are looking at it that way, but it's responsibility for one's actions, whether good or bad. And you need to see yourself, and I think this is what you're talking about in failing a test or not living up to an expectation. You need to see yourself as part of the problem in order to fix it, and in order to find out what true accountability really means.
I remember when my daughters lost their first lacrosse game, and they won a bunch and then lost one, and riding home with my oldest daughter, and she's a really hard competitor, and she was pretty upset. And as an 8-year-old, her first initial reaction was like, well, this person didn't play hard, and we were trying to pass in the ball, but they didn't. Man, I lost it. As a matter of fact, I think we got home, and I said, all right, now I want you to go in the backyard and pick up all the dog poop in the backyard because that's what your attitude is like right now. So you can figure it out. You think about it while you're out there picking it up. But I remember the conversation after that being, if you're going to be a leader, which is the expectation, the first place you better look is in the mirror. And I think in the time that we have right now where we're all dealing with this adversity of this pandemic and we're distance learning and social distancing, it is forcing you to look in the mirror every single day and account for only one thing, and that's yourself. You're not in a classroom with 30 other people. The teacher's not right there for you. It is you versus you right now. You know what I'm saying? And if you're getting a phone call because you're not getting work done, or you're getting a phone call, that means that you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Or if you're upset and you're tanking it and you're struggling right now, well, you got to look in the mirror first. Don't look at the coronavirus as the rationale for why you feel like you do. Look in the mirror and find a way to say to yourself, I am worth more. My happiness and my success is worth more than the way I'm acting right now. Am I making sense?
Absolutely. And in this time more than ever, accountability couldn't be greater. You know, as educators, we rely on you to be accountable for the work that's being sent out. This is new for all of us. You know, don't try to run away from that or avoid that or try to point a finger at that this distance learning isn't for me. Well, it's not for anybody. It's not for anybody. But this is what we're being given right now. So you need to find a way to hold yourself to, you know, that standard. And I know I've said that a bunch now. I'm going to try not to. But you need to understand that things get solved when we hold ourselves accountable. They really do.
And everyone is trying to take accountability right now. That's the feeling I get. So I know we're talking to students right now, but there's no doubt that teachers are reflecting every week too. Like I see it when I look at lesson plans and when I talk to teachers and we talk administratively. You know, we're all trying to reflect, and maybe this is a positive silver lining of what we're dealing with, is that we're really looking internally. And as a teacher, I'm saying, am I giving too much work right now? Am I overwhelming these kids too much? How can I streamline this to make sure that the student's getting what they need and not more than that? As an administrator, we're saying, how can we look at the structure of what we're giving out right now and make it fit to the goal that we're having? And all those answers can be found in one place, and that's individually. Then those feelings get shared within a group and adjustments are made. But this place where that begins is individually and our individual expectations of each other. You know what I'm saying? And whether or not we are overdoing it or we're getting it right. And the way I feel right now is that everybody's in the same boat. We're all trying to figure out how to hold ourselves accountable for providing the best educational opportunity that there is. But everybody's got to pull their weight in that equation.
And I think ownership is a word that goes along with accountability. You need to take ownership over what needs to get done right now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That ownership is how we're going to overcome this thing. It's bigger than getting my distance learning assignments done. This is staying inside, not going out, not taking this thing lightly. That you're accountable for that as well, because you not following that, you not holding yourself accountable to that standard that this world has put in place right now, then you're failing everyone else around you. The 3 people that you interacted with then see someone else, and all of a sudden, this is why we see these big jumps, because people don't want to be accountable right now. And I think accountability kind of goes along with what we talked about in the IAO series as well, is that I don't care and that fear type thing is kind of how some people are playing this right now. In order to make it not real, I'm just going to pretend I don't care and I don't have responsibility. That teacher, they're going to give me a 10 out of 10 no matter what, whether I turn it in or not, because these times are hard. No, that can't be the way we operate right now. There can't be shortcuts in tough times. You need to stay the course right now. Coach Russo, shout out.
Yeah. I almost failed out of Lehigh my first 2 semesters. I think I got a 1.23. my first semester at Lehigh in like a 138. My second semester, I had to write letters to the admissions office begging to keep my financial aid, and my coaches had to step up to the plate for me. And I remember my first semester saying, like, oh, my grandmother died over the summer. I had to come here right after graduation and take summer courses. My girlfriend dumped me. You know, I'm trying to adjust to the college life and all. I was pointing fingers at eight or nine different things that I thought were rationalized why I was struggling. And I'll never forget a conversation that my offensive line coach had with me, and he said, look, if you fail out of this school, Here's the letter of recommendation I wrote you. Here's the letter of recommendation the head football coach wrote you here. Here's the letter of recommendation your English teacher wrote you. It's on you. It's not on us. Like, we did everything we could. There's only one place to look. And I remember going home that summer and saying, they're right. I'm embarrassing myself here because I was in control of a lot of things and I just didn't want to get uncomfortable. When things got uncomfortable, I was like, oh, no, I'm just going to go into this cave of being comfortable. And if that means skipping class or whatever, I'm going to do that just to remain comfortable. And I think that's a big part of it is if you are failing in accountability or failing in certain areas of life because you just want to be comfortable, you're never going to find success. And you're certainly never going to take ownership or accountability for what's going on.
And to be perfectly honest, just as you had shared, I still struggle with accountability. I still find myself pointing the finger at my wife for things that I got frustrated with, that I didn't want to take ownership over. And she's constantly calling me out for that. And if I were to use an example like you did, and I don't share this with many people just because it's something I really struggled with. But when I look at this accountability and if we're going to teach lessons, you know, I've told you this and some students at the school, but I failed my athletic training certification exam 4 times. 4 times. I graduated Salisbury. I failed. In the summer, I take it again. I fail. I'm now at the University of South Carolina, who offered me an $80,000 scholarship to come there for a master's program, expecting me to have passed the exam and start working right away with their Division I athletics. And I wasn't able to do that initially because I didn't pass the test. I take it in the fall at South Carolina. I fail. That's number 4. 4 times I failed. I've yet to look in the mirror and say, who's accountable for this? Who's responsible for this? I just kept pointing the finger. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I'm taking medication. I have ADHD. I'm gaining weight. I have no motivation. But the only person that was going to sit down and take the test was Joe. No one else was going to take it. If you fail your 5th time on the National Athletic Training exam, you have to sit out a whole year before you can sign up again and be eligible for the exam. I now have my back against the wall. I was either going to get sent home from the University of South Carolina and go back to my family and say, I would have made an excuse, but right now I would say I didn't hold myself accountable. And for the first time in my life, I actually took pride in what I was doing, and I passed with flying colors. Does that test have any reflection of who I am now? Yes, partially. It's made me the man I am today, and it's made me hungry every single day since that because I fell into a place of comfort I had never been before, and I was the person saying, I don't care. I'll join the military. I'll get a job. I'll do this. And I was almost downplaying some of those things as well, as if those are the easy way out when those people sacrifice more than most. And it was one of the most eye-opening experiences of my life. And once I found that, I then realized I can hold myself accountable, but I'm also gaining the confidence to start holding everyone around me accountable as well.
Because you realize consequences. You realize finality. And you're up against it. And I think that's what accountability is all about. And, you know, I know this was an intense one. I think accountability is critical. And as we take this one out, the reality is, you know, if you're a student out there, you have support. And we're here for you. And you have our contact information. You have your teacher's contact information. There's a group here to support you. And if you're not taking advantage of that support, then shame on you because it's here. And that's where accountability begins. So if you're struggling, look in the mirror. If you're doing great, look in the mirror. Regardless, look in the mirror, take ownership of where you're at in your life, start setting goals on where you want to be and knowing you're in control of that, and let's get after it. And let's own today. Own today. Go to sleep, wake up, and then own tomorrow. And next time we come back, we're going to talk about the second ability in the ability series, which is reliability and dependability.
And we can't wait to be back with you. So you guys hang tight, keep fighting, stay safe, and know that we are all in this together. And we'll see you back soon, West Deptford.